Hey everyone, Gareth here from Seeker. I've got something pretty cool to share with you. I caught up with Alex from Pitchbox recently, who demoed some of their latest AI and automation features for my team. We hit record, and actually it turned out to be a really interesting conversation, and they've agreed to let me put it out there and share it with you all. Enjoy.
Do you remember my talk in 2019 on machine learning and outreach?
The AI talk. Yeah. The LFMAO, right? I love that. What the hell did that stand for?
LMFAO, leveraging machines for awesome outreach. So it was basically
Talking about good titles, huh? Catchy titles.
I've got a creative, wonderfully creative team there. They came up with the title actually, but so the credit to them. But it was using some of the AI frameworks and models that were out there at the time, and using Zapier to hook them up to Pitchbox. Things like Monkey Learn to identify contacts and email sentiment, stuff like that. But none of the nothing like what's possible now in terms of now that technology is available. So some of this stuff that you've been saying and talking about is just next level, really.
Yeah, I remember doing the same. I did I didn't do the talk, but I used Monkey Learn and Zapier to pull to classify emails. Like specifically, I wanted to identify the emails in Pitchbox are coming in, and if they're out of the office, I wanted to tag them. So I got playing around with it. I got set up a Zap with Pitchbox, so Pitchbox would trigger when an email comes in. It would send it over to Zapier. Zapier would send it to mail to Monkey Learn. Monkey Learn, I trained it because they had like this really cool. The
custom model.
Custom modeling. You train it. I trained it. I said, this is an out of office. This is not. This is not. Came back. I was actually doing a pretty good job classifying it, and then that would tag an opportunity inside or the email inside Pitchbox. I was really, really excited about it. I wanted to write about it, but then when I realized that the cost, what the cost is, it was prohibitive because once you connect it to a pretty busy email account, it was going to be painful.
That's it. It's similar things really. There's certainly some automations that I actually turned off because I realized that that we were burning through so many credits that it wasn't actually saving as much time to justify it really. So, and I found that with a lot of AI hacks and things is there's the big limitation is the cost. You can't scale things out massively because you just burn through all your credits. I remember I burned through all my Monkey Learn credit. No, I think it was Zapier actually. I did something stupid with Zapier and I burnt through my whole my whole usage allowance in like 10 minutes or something stupid like that. And then people were like, Gareth, everything stopped working. The automation, Pitchbox is the automations aren't happening. So that's the drawback, isn't it, when you're using these external tools?
So I'm going to show you automation, which is something new, and there you don't need Zapier credits, so there's no credits. It's doing things inside Pitchbox. All right, should we jump in? Should I share my screen with you and we go? All right, cool.
Go for it.
These features are still in beta, not available to the customers, but we're kind of getting the feedback and getting the rollout. This is not the first version. This is like version number 3. We've improved the UI. And so I have a little project here called AI Fun. I have a couple, I was just testing with some stuff here. I have a tiny house design and peanut allergy campaigns. So I'll go with a peanut allergy. And the first thing I'm going to show you is the AI, how to write extremely effective email templates, outreach email templates using AI. Peanut allergy is very close home to me. My daughter has a severe peanut allergy. So like bringing awareness to the stuff, the more, the better. I love doing that. So I'll talk about what's an AI template versus just a regular template with AI template assistant. So this is, I guess one of the questions, people say when we started showing this to some of our customers, they're like, well, what's the difference with Pitchbox's AI template assistant that write email templates versus me just going to OpenAI? So the reality is that we've been in business for over 10 years. We have so much data. So, and as you know, we've done data studies. We aggregate a ton of data, and we've done with Brian Dean.
Yeah.
We've shared some of the stuff with Bibi that she presented at Brighton. We're working
Brighton,
with
yeah.
well, right. So what we did was we took, like, we've aggregated all of our millions of emails, outreach emails, and we've looked at certain aspects of those emails, certain phrases, certain words, and we're feeding that into the AI. We're basically tuning those AI models, right? What's going to drive the most attention and the highest responses. Because you could go to OpenAI and ask, write me an email template for guest post outreach, whatever. You're going to get the typical, it's not going to be as crappy as like, here, hello, dear sir, madam, but it's not going to be too far away from that. You'll get, I came across your website. Your content is great. I want to contribute. Everybody gets those. They're boring, right? So we're staying away from that, and we're tuning those models to give us the cream of the crop. So I have and we're going to be adding more of these categories in there and more templates. So I'm selecting guest post. The one I've been kind of playing around mostly with is the guest post.
Sorry, I was just going to say, on the template thing, the first time I went to ChatGPT and said, obviously it was one of the first things I did as a link builder. I was like, write me an outreach email. And the first time I was impressed. I was like, that's pretty cool for a first go.
Yeah.
And then, you start thinking about it, and you start doing more, and you realize everything's a bit generic and samey. And because of course it's trained on what's out there on the web. And unfortunately, most of the stuff out there on the web in terms of outreach template, outreach email templates and things is very generic. And, everyone's doing the same stuff. And I remember for Seeker, like 5 years ago, a competitive advantage I think that we had was actually just writing really good outreach emails. That helped us stand out from the crowd and convert and win pitches, because the rest of the junk that was out there, because we've got our own affiliate sites and things, and e-commerce sites and things, the stuff that comes through is just utter rubbish. So we put the writers into Pitchbox to do the pitching and the communications, because at the end of the day, they're fantastic communicators. It's what they do. It becomes natural to them. I think what I've seen over the years is that competitive advantage as everybody else is now leveling up, and outreach emails are all really solid, really well written, and grammatically correct, of course, is a good first start. Generally pretty good guest post pitches, etc. But now, because everyone is doing that, you need to find a new competitive edge to stand out against all the all the rubbish. And this is where offering something different, or being really personalized and customized with your outreach emails. Because I'm a sucker. If someone sends me a pitch, whether it's a sales pitch or something, and they've spent time to actually really learn about me or write me something that's custom, if I don't feel like I'm being templated, then I'm more likely to engage with that prospect.
It's
right?
funny. So, for sales, I totally agree. For sales, I've had there's a company that's been pitching me, and their first email came through, and it was like really, really good. And I was pretty impressed. I was about to respond, and then I was like, you know what? I'm sure there's going to be a follow-up.
Wait for the sequence.
I want to see what that follow-ups look like. And I waited for the follow-up. The follow-up came through, and it was really good as well. And I just, I kept waiting, and the salesperson was really persistent. And I think after the 5th email, I was like, okay, I owe it to him. So I sent him an email back, and I said, let's get on a call. And I said, do you know? And I told him, I said, do you know why I didn't respond sooner? He's like, why? I said, I wanted to see your entire sequence. Right? We had a laugh. But that's true. I mean, cool. There's some people take the time and they put some really solid stuff out there, and it works.
Exactly.
Stuff doesn't. All right, let's jump in here. So cool. we've like I said, we have a bunch of different templates in there. I'm just gonna go with the one which is kind of like free form almost. And like I said, so this is peanutology. I'm gonna say something like what's my topic? Let's do traveling. I've done some travel stuff before. So traveling with kid who has a peanut allergy. So then we have like, we call them AI enhancements. We'll do include an article outline. Yep. So it basically is just going to give some suggestions there,
Yeah.
write it in voice. So this is a cool one. We put some cool stuff in here. I'm just going to do stand-up comedian and then add a joke. Yes. What a joke about? Let's do peanuts. Oops. Peanuts and walnuts should be on topic. Kind of joke.
Joke time.
I don't know.
Love
Let's
it.
do it fun. And then include emojis. Yes. We'll include them throughout. And then additional instructions. No, nothing. All right. So let's go generate. It might take a minute.
So we were talking about, so OpenAI, of course, is trained on the web and everything it can find out there about outreach email templates and all of the guides and the tutorials and forums and etc. And it's learned that's what it knows about outreach email templates, which is pretty cool, of course. But you guys have a closed data set here, a private data set, which, like you said, been the platform's been going for 10 years, like plus your model is trained on your own data sets.
But we are feeding our own data and giving it lots of instructions of what it is that we want and what it is that we don't want in those emails, which is critical for having a pretty solid email like this.
There you go.
Here's what it would look like. So and again, it's tuned for the actual template, so you can see like it's high CNT first name. This is our personalization fields. So when I insert it into templates, it's going to already use, the personalization, the same thing with like outreach email signatures and things like that.
It's a better dad joke than I could have come up with about walnuts and peanuts. I would say maybe, obviously it's, possibly too many emojis, but you can customize that, right? You can keep
for sure.
You can because you chose emojis throughout, so
I did.
So I guess
I can adjust them. And I have like I had a couple of them. And thanks. And again, it's so different than from your typical stuff.
Can you just start there, because I want to screenshot this and drop it on Slack for the team.
Yeah, for sure.
So I can show them. There we go, saved.
And then I can copy the text and throw it into whatever, but I could also insert it right into my email template. And now I have it in my email template. And if I go and template claim, whatever, call it attempt 1, I'll select an email account and then I'll click on next. We'll do a smart preview and it'll, it basically pulls this thing. So again, it's not just creating an outreach email template, it's creating an outreach email template that's designed for Pitchbox. So that's, kind of that's step 1.
Nice.
Again, you can utilize a couple different ones and really tune it with whether you want to, write it in different voice, add jokes, what kind of jokes, things like that. So that's the email template setup.
So the additional instructions, is that so you can add your own customizations to the prompts, or is that to go into the pitch?
Yeah, like for example, let's say you feel that the pitch is too long, and you could say, keep it to 200 words. You could say, make sure that it's targeted toward, or you could say, just write this in Spanish.
Nice.
And cool. It's gonna write, you know what I mean? So it's just additional instruction, kind of free form stuff.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, because I do like the short and snappy outreach emails. I like to get straight to the point, and get all the key elements in there, of course. So I could go in there and just write, keep it to X amount of words, or only give me 3 post pitches, or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. And then even if you could say, give me only 3, see, this is the thing. You could say, give me 10. And then once you get it in here, you're going to find the 10 and find the 2 or 3 that you really like, right? Like that's the most, or fix them around. And that's where that's sort of like this thing is kind of useful, because I'm like, I remember I really liked the post from there, or like the joke. from another one, or I like the opening, and you can really just take, bits and pieces of it, combine them. So every single go at regenerate is going to give you a different template.
And you can go back and look through the history as well. So
you can go back and look at the history. Yeah, for sure. And you also might like, if you really like something, and let's say you're working with a client who is whatever into travel, and you went a bunch, and you're like, what, I really like this one. You can actually make it
favorite,
favorite, right? And then you can come back to your favorites. So again, there's lots of cool stuff here.
Just one more quick question on the template. So can you can pull in all of the custom fields, the personalization fields and things, then you can use those to tweak things further and automate things.
You can still, so it generates the email template, and once you get it into your template, then you can still enhance it even further with your personalization fields. And I don't know if we'll have time, because we're actually doing AI personalization fields as well. The idea there, once it goes into production, is you're going to be able to define, I'll show you how to define those, but you're going to be able to basically set up a custom field and say, this is an AI custom field, and what's behind the custom field is the prompt.
But before you go on.
But the prompt, actually, the cool part of it is it's a custom field with the prompt. But when we're sending this information to, or request to the AI, along with it, we're passing the information about the website and the content. So it's not like, because if you just say custom field, what's today, it'll say today is whatever, Thursday. But you want to say, what is this article about? You need to pass the article to it. Or you could say, what's the H1 on this, or summarize the H1, or what are the top 3 keywords this particular page should rank for, right? And you got to feed it the data. So that's the really cool part. So we're basically combining our capabilities of our crawling, of Pitchbox extracting, data from the websites with the AI, and then combining together and give you the ability to write prompts to it. And I'll show you. Cool. Now the next thing.
Sorry, go on. I was just going to say that unlocks a whole new level of automation and capabilities. I think when you can feed in your own custom fields and data into the prompt, and have a unique output from that's unique to that individual opportunity. I can, because we like to write the first line and use that. So we have called the pattern interrupt in sales, right? We're trying to break the mold, and we give them and we have the team sit there and they write the unique line for that individual person, and then everything else is templated because the rest of the outreach email is the same. So I'm just thinking now how we can now level that up once again, and have a custom field where the team modify the prompt for that individual opportunity, and then that will get fed into the template.
Yeah, for sure. Right? And let me do something and see if I can quickly guess, since we're talking about it already. So here's like the type. So we have, like, when we create custom fields, you have URL, date, number, whatever. Now you have the AI powered. So the AI powered, now you're going to be writing the AI prompt. Right. But, and then we're going to give a little bit more guidance to the users and say the reserve, let's call them reserved words, are website and URL. So you could say, what is the H1 on this? And then you say URL. And because it's basically going to transform and understand what it is that you want. So what's the H1 on this URL? URL meaning the content of this website.
Yeah.
And then, so let's say, once I, add this field, whatever, this is H1, we'll call it H1. I added the field. Now, if I go and I personalize, if I go to the personalization, let's go to, let me edit this, and on personalization detail screen, a little bit of, and then I'm going to go to the AI fun. Let's go to Computer analogy. Let's go to here. Now I have this H1. You're going to be able to basically, because it's still, I turned it on for it's in development. But technically, and now you got this populate AI. So if you have a bunch of fields, you'll be able to click populate AI and you're good to go. And also this is one by one, but in reality, what you want is you want to select all of them and you're going to say personalize via AI. This is the mind-blowing stuff, because we've always been talking about personalizing your emails, right? Now, those are the two key things in order to get responses: is write solid templates, right? Make sure that your pitches are solid, and two, personalize them, right? Now you got the AI, now you got the pitches written by AI, utilizing all the best practices and from the data study of million emails. And now on top of that, you have the personalization done via AI. It's really gonna take this to the next level.
So I'm just thinking, like, there's so many applications there. Like, one of my favorite links types to build is link insertions. Taking, obviously, you know what it is, but take an existing article, updating it with a link to our target site in. Now, I always like to justify the link insertion, one to the algorithm, two to the user, of course, and justify as in make a considerable update to the existing post and improve it somewhat, and then of course include your link. I know that some link builders are totally okay with just highlighting some text, exact match or whatever, and then you linking that, but it doesn't feel very legit to me. And so we like to add some additional value to that article. We might update it to include some more points or the more up-to-date information, etc., and then include the link in that. So our writers are there refreshing and updating these posts and things. I can see and writing like short snippets to add into that post. I can see now how we could potentially tell the AI to do that for you automatically, and even just include it in the email and say, go and drop this, or not go and drop this on this page, but persuade them, recommend, suggest that they include this new updated paragraph with your link in, of course, and drop it into the post. So I can see how that can be automated now.
If you go through that whole AI personalization step, it does the work for you. Remember, you can always go back. And when you're at the compose level, I don't have anything here, but at the compose level, you can see all of your columns here and really just verify, maybe spot check them at the very least. Just like, does this sound, is this good data? Is this good content? Is this a good sentence for me to include in my email template? And then lastly, obviously, when you're at the compose stage, you could say, preview and send and actually do it there, like see what it actually sounds like in an email. Still speeds up the process tremendously, but gives you that extra level of supervision, making sure that solid emails are going out to your targets.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's really important, that with any AI work, no matter what scenario, we still need to manually error check and stop it going off piste, which it will happily do unsupervised and just go and do something crazy. So we don't want to just send out low value, crazy stuff. Our relationships with sites and things and our reputation is super important, and we want to protect that. So I like that you can go through and you can just check everything, smart preview, sorry, and then edit stuff if necessary.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right, next thing, which is I've been trying to show you this as well. It's light, right? But still, so you get to get ideas, the typical get ideas that we have. And then the AI assistant, I think I have some drafts in here as well. So like managing feed analogy. So this is kind of like target audience. It's recipe and cooking websites, topic 1, topic 2, topic 3, how many keywords I want. And then basically just gives me my list of keywords. And these are long tail keywords for me to do prospecting with, and then I can just insert them into a keyword list, and boom, here they are. And then you can obviously add more or remove some of the ones that don't meet a certain criteria. All right, one last thing that I wanted to show you was the replies. So I got an email. This was a reply to a guest post pitch, the impact of drinking water on our environment, a fresh perspective. So it looks like the email came in. Thank you for your interest in contributing to my blog. I want to let you know that I do have a placement fee for each guest articles. The fee helps cover various aspects of such content. Aspects such as content review, editing, formatting, and promoting, ensuring the best practices for both readers and guest contributors. Looks like they're interested in getting $400. Not too shabby, right? All right, so let's get AI. So we have a couple of built in. We're going to be adding more of these. I got to negotiate a couple different tones. I'll stick with casual. Let's get AI to generate this. Now it's using we've tuned it to use negotiating frameworks that are used for training salespeople. When salespeople negotiating contracts, there's prices and things like that. We're using certain frameworks. That's how we tuned it for the sales negotiation frameworks. And so we'll give it a second.
This is why I should be coming and doing this here rather than going to ChatGPT and copying and pasting around and things, because like this data set is much more specific to the scenario that we're in, what we're trying to achieve. And obviously you've got, 10 plus years of doing this stuff. So you can train your models accordingly. So
Exactly.
Plus also it's right there where you need to actually send the email instead of all the
that's the whole point. That's the whole point. Yeah, I mean, you could definitely take the email, write the prompt to ChatGPT, ask it. It's not going to give you this. I mean, it'll give you probably a decent response. You could do it. Even if it did give you a decent response, you still need to go between the tools, right? Where Pitchbox it's in place. Once I hit send, the next email pops in.
Yeah.
And what we're doing is we're actually going to be working on the classification of emails as well. We're going to come back and tell you that we recommend. So right now, just you get to choose, but the next step is for us to understand the context of the email and recommend what type of response you should, right? So it's going to even help. It's going to even help further. And like with agencies like you, I don't know if you guys have VAs or not, but there's a lot of agencies that we work with, they use VAs, and those VAs, English is not their first language. And sometimes we see them making mistakes when they're communicating, right, with people. Utilizing AI, that's no longer a concern. This will handle it for them.
Yeah. Makes it all so much more accessible, doesn't it, to everyone. And I was just thinking, without this feature, I mean, you could potentially build your own, a much more primitive version, because it would be based on the generic model from OpenAI. But you could zap this email content over to OpenAI, write with a prompt, write the response, and send it back in potentially. But when you're doing that all day long, you're just going to burn through so many credits, right? So it makes it much less scalable. So the fact that it's all done natively within Pitchbox now is pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what I'm also super excited about is the automation. So automation is basically kind of like I call it built-in Zapier into Pitchbox. And we have these pre-built automations and that allow you to stop doing the same type of work inside Pitchbox. So majority of them is basically triggers and actions, but they're all triggers in Pitchbox, actions in Pitchbox. So Zapier is triggers somewhere and action else somewhere else, where this is kind of keeping it home. So just to go through, I'm not going to go through all of them, but obviously out of office, email received, then resume outreach, archive email, tag the opportunity. I actually like this one, out of office, email received, snooze, and tag the opportunity. So if you get an out of office email, I'm on vacation, I'll be back on 30th of May. You want to snooze this email because there's no point following up or shooting an email. Snooze this email until they return. Others like we've had customers request this, like, we want to get a Slack message once the first reply from an opportunity is received. So you could do that. This one I think is extremely useful. A lot of people come back and say, you know what, I get a lot of autoresponders, and that's typical, right? You're doing cold outreach, you're going to get some autoresponders. Question is, what's your typical action? Well, it's an autoresponder. I probably want to move on to the next contact at this company. So I'm going to archive the email, move to the next contact, and resume outreach. Don't have to do that manually anymore, right? So if I select this, I say when an autoresponder is received in any of the projects that I have, do what? Archive the email, remove contact from opportunity, because it could be like contact us or info or something else or editor, and then resume outreach, which means it's going to move to the next contact. And that's it. You just, and it's just going to be autoresponder, resume, and that's it. Once I save,
Nice.
and I have it here. I can just turn it on, and now I got this thing running. If I go back to the suggestions, I also like this one, out of office. Email is received on any of the project. Snooze the email. But the snoozing of the email, it's not just like snooze it for 2 days. Actually, the tooltip will tell you, we try to detect when they're coming back. Typically, email is like, oh, I'm out of the office from so, and to, or I'm on vacation, coming back on a 3rd. So what it's going to do is going to snooze days after they come back. So you don't want to just snooze it 2 days because you don't know when they're coming back. You don't want to also follow up with them the day they come back. They probably have a ton of emails in their inbox. Give them 2 days after they come back, and then you can send in, and then you can, kind of reach out to them. And I also want to maybe tag the opportunity. But the reality is there's so many actions: snooze email, delete email, archive, add tags, add tasks, add notes to opportunity, notify Slack. Obviously, if you want to get things out the door somewhere, you can send a webhook and get really nerdy here with passing the payload data and stuff. Payload can be from the actual trigger. You like the stuff. I mean, it gets really nerdy, but it's really cool. So automation, I could just create a new automation from start, and then we have a bunch of triggers that are not in the library. New task is created, the task is completed. Chase up matured. So are you familiar with our chase ups?
Yeah.
Okay.
Chasebox,
Yeah, Chasebox. So let's say, you send you're pitching somebody guest post. They're like, yeah, send me some stuff. You gave them an article, and you're expecting them to get back to you with feedback on that article in 2 days. Well, if they don't get back to you, you want to create a task? No, you basically create a chase up. You're saying, here's my article. Give me some feedback, please. And when you send that email, say chase it up in 2 days. And then what's going to happen is in 2 days, it's going to pop into your chase box. The customers love that. But now you have chase up matured, because chase up is still an action you got to go take. And typically it's going to be send them the follow-up email. So now chase up matured, 2 days went by. They didn't get back to you with feedback on that article. Okay, no problem. Let's send them a follow-up email. And what is going to be? It's going to be a canned response, and it's going to be, you can set one up. It's not going to have a great weekend, but it's going to be follow up on my blog post that I just sent them. How many days? And this is adding days to the maturity. So let's say you waited for 2 days, then you want to wait another day after it's matured, and then you want to get it, send it out to them at 11 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Hands-free.
Yeah.
It's this, we got, obviously Pitchbox got the follow-up on cold emails, but now this is follow-ups on relationships.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
So,
well, I think the team are going to love you for this, because it's all the boring stuff that they hate doing, right? But we all have to do it.
Yeah.
They can automate that and just focus on the more interesting stuff. And seeing the webhook there, I'm just thinking, like, webhook. Okay, how about using the webhook to send feature to connect to the Phantom Buster API, and then send the person a LinkedIn connection request and stuff like that, or Twitter, or just like, so many potentials there in terms of once you hook up the APIs and things. So it's really cool.
Yeah, and like things like, for example, like if you have a team that's setting up campaigns, and then you have another team member that's going through the inspection and personalization step,
Mm.
like you could say campaign finished prospecting and notify by Slack. Can you say which channel?
Mm.
And that goes to the team that does the
Yeah,
inspection and says, we've just got a new campaign in Pitchbox.
yeah,
Go ahead and start, go ahead and start doing it. So there's a lot of, and like I really like also opportunity has been tagged. This one's really cool because, like, for example, let's say you're doing guest post, right? You're pitching somebody and they came back to you, and the people who are managing the inbox, they're basically, okay, I got somebody that came back and say, yeah, they want the guest post. Now you got to, let's say, get it to over to your content people. So you could tag it with need content. And once the need content is tagged, then you can create a task for, add a task to the opportunity and assign it to, where's the assignment? Send complete reply. Oh, there you go. I'm blind. Assign it to your content writers inside Pitchbox.
yeah.
And
Could
then
you sorry, go on, please.
and then or you could say, or you can send it as a webhook and get it out into
ClickUp.
Monday.com or
Yeah.
whatever it is that you use.
Yeah, ClickUp, Airtable,
ClickUp.
they're
Yeah,
our
yeah,
main things,
exactly.
right? So
And and then send that over to your content team
yeah,
to work on. So I mean,
Yeah.
like, we are super excited to see what customers start coming up with, some of the use cases, because there's a lot of triggers and a lot of the actions here that you could utilize, really just to simplify your day. Even like something has been, like, for example, let's say you have a bunch of tags on an opportunity, and then now you know that the opportunity milestone changed, right? And it's changed, and the opportunity milestone changed, which is maybe, it's moved forward, or
yeah,
and now you could say, and condition from milestone, it went from, let's say, got a reply, and it went to milestone and
negotiation.
negotiation.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
now I'm like, I probably have like some of the tags on there that are no
yeah,
longer relevant. I can remove a tag.
right.
This way you can keep your, you keep your pipeline clean. Because everybody thinks about like adding more stuff. I'm about removing stuff. Like, I want to
Simplifying it, yeah.
declutter, right? I want to declutter. Maybe I want to mark a task is completed, or remove the tasks, or remove the tags. I like things clean, right? This is why we actually created Chase Up, because typically what customers would do, they would send that article that we talked about as an example, and then they say, okay, I sent an email with an article. I'm waiting for them to come back to me in 2 days. What they would do is they would create a task. Follow up if they don't respond. Say 2 days went by, it's time for them to follow up. What are they doing? They're going to the inbox, finding that email, hitting reply, and sending that email. Well, why am I going to create a task when I can just say, would you like the follow-up to happen in 2 days? Yes. Instead of the task, now you have a chase up that matured. Now all you do is just say, yes, send that email, right? So again, it's decluttering. It's creating less work for the team. Where I want like all our customers spending most of their time is in the relationship stage, talking to people, negotiating, figuring out, writing content, getting right, not that labor intensive part of the outreach. And I think that's what, as you know, that's why we built Pitchbox. We've tried to automate a lot of that grunt work and really leave you with the relationship building part of it, which is the exciting part, communicating with people,
Exactly.
right? And let the technology take care of the rest.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Just moving all the admin and that boring stuff over to the software, and then the team can just focus on, because really, because the bar, this stuff becomes more accessible. We really have to stand out creatively to succeed now, much more than before. So to stand out creatively, that's where people need to be focusing their time. But the thing is that sometimes they've got mixed responsibilities and duties because they get pulled into this stuff and there's doing the admin, clearing out the out of offices, tagging everything up correctly, deleting things. But yeah, if we can set up these automations now, then they can just focus on content, the relationships, running the campaigns, the strategy, the logic, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, with
Really cool.
AI and automation, I think it's a beautiful marriage, where the automation utilizes the AI, it leverages that, right, to kind of give you a really much better experience.
Yeah.
So that's automation. Now, I talked about Zapier, and I know you're a big fan. Let me go search Pitchbox and Zapier. I don't know. So let's go. So that's Pitchbox and Zapier. Super excited about that. And now I know you're gonna have some fun here. Look at the amount of triggers.
Yeah,
build.
There's a lot more than before. Yeah,
you don't need to log into Pitchbox no more. You can build everything and say, no, I'm kidding. But I mean, it's got everything.
Yeah.
Everything. You can build so much cool stuff here. As an example, like I think this was a couple years back. Remember, we were sitting at the Hilton bar in Brighton, and you were talking about it would be so cool to have a Zapier be triggered when a custom field is updated. Boom, you have that here, which is like when we have the custom field update. Where is this? Custom field updated. An instant trigger on that, and now you could do actions. Obviously, there's a bunch of actions that you could do inside Pitch. You can send this back into Pitchbox, but obviously the idea of Zapier is getting it out somewhere else, right? Same example of you could say you can have a custom field like, do we need content? And it's it's checked, or need content now. It's a checkbox. You check it, trigger, and now get it out into whatever other system you need and do all kinds of stuff. And then once the article, let's say it is an article, and then let's say it's for the simplicity's sake, it's Trello. You got that Kanban board, and now it's a new article required, and you got links to Pitchbox opportunity right in there. And as your content team moves it down, it's like in writing, then editing, then in approval, and then approved with, let's say, inside that Trello card, there's a link to a Google Doc. That is a trigger on inside Zapier on the Trello. Then now in the actions, it can do hell of a lot of stuff here, like add a note that with a link to the Google Doc, or create a task for the outreach person to send an email to the target and say your article's been been written, down to like get the communication in there. I mean, it's like there's so much stuff here.
Cool. So like as an example, how we use the custom fields here as a trigger is when the content status is updated on Airtable. So when that content status is updated to authored, or actually not authored, but probably edited, then it's ready to be sent off to the prospect. So now we can somehow trigger, wait for that custom field to be updated on, I mean, that would be the other way around, actually. That would be using Airtable as a trigger, which then would feed it back into Pitchbox and carry out an action there. And for example, you could have a custom field to say, all of these opportunity IDs are ready to be sent. The content is ready to be sent off. So a user can filter and say, okay, I'm going to go and get the content for all of these and send them off. You can even go one step further, and actually you could, with a little bit of hackery, actually get Zapier, Pitchbox, and AI to even send the content off for you, right? Because you can use the Google Docs integration. You can change the sharing settings in Zapier for the Google Doc, and then it creates a public share URL for the Google Doc with the content on,
Yep.
then you can
Yep.
insert that into your response template and say, hey Alex, here's that content I promised you. Here's the link to the Google Doc. You can just click the link, download it, and publish it on your blog. Job
Exactly.
done.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Very cool.
And that's sort of it's still part of the process, right? But there's also situations as an agency, you might want to let your customers know what you're working on, or maybe some of the links that you've already won for them. So you could have a Zapier when a milestone changed to a win. You can then get that into a Google Sheet that you share with a client, getting another row in there.
Yeah,
with
reporting.
the information that you got the link on this website, right? So
Yeah.
for reporting.
Yeah. So you can have we have this anyway, but I think I can certainly see some improvements now. Real-time reporting where the client can log in at any time and see, because sometimes when clients don't see, because obviously there's a whole workflow that we're going through, outreach, negotiation, almost there, one, lost, etc. So when they don't, when they're waiting on the links and they're anticipating and looking forward to the links coming through, sometimes, of course, outreach, there's delays, things happen. And if there is a delay, it's, if a client says, hey, how's it looking this month with delivery? If we can say, here's all the one links, we're a bit behind, but then in some of the the earlier stages, we've actually got, for example, this happens at Christmas, during the holidays a lot. December, everything shuts down. And then there becomes this big backlog of opportunities and content and stuff waiting to go live. And then we come back in January and February, and then that huge backlog starts to slowly clear up. So we can show that to the client and say, try not to worry. This happens every year. We're just waiting for the backlog to slowly sort of drip down to whittle down and turn into the one status. So you can, you can automate that real-time reporting.
You can, I mean, with the reports, you can start sending opportunities into a Google Sheet, those that matured to a specific state, like for example, negotiation. So they can look at, say, here's our win in a separate tab, but here's the one we're negotiating with. And you can, in Zapier, you could obviously find, you don't have to add a row, you can find a row. So you could say find, and if the milestone has changed from negotiation to almost there, find a row, change the column to, to the new milestone. This way, you can keep your customers up to date on what's happening with your outreach. We are working, and this is very close to our updated Looker integration. So there, it's going to be more on the aggregate data. So some things like you talked about, like there's so much work that goes before you see the one link, such as milestone changes or like the progress, the emails, number of emails sending out. So we're going to be sending a lot of that aggregated data over to Looker. So you'll be able to actually share a report with the customer, and that's going to be in real time, because as they run it, it's hitting up Pitchbox's integration, which is the API in real time, pulling out that data and drawing that stuff.
That's going to be really cool for agencies to show that value, right? Because sometimes we get the question, why don't we just do this in-house? And they don't even know how much of a pain in the ass outreach is. So if we can pipe through all of those that campaign statistic data and things, we can actually show you, like, this is all of the different activity that's going on, from prospecting to like planning campaigns to all the negotiations and things. So if we can better show that value, then of course it's good for agencies like us.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's going to show how much work is involved in building links.
I know.
Like, hey, give me a link. It's not it's tough. It's a lot of work. It's like sales. I always say pitches that link building is like sales. You got the whole life cycle of the process, from prospecting to closing.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but yeah, I mean, we're super excited. Our development team is super excited. Our support team is super excited about all these, the AI, the automations, the new Zapier, some of the other new cool stuff in with AI personalization. It's going to be
me too, man. Like, I'm just looking at this and I'm like, oh, this changes everything. I need to go back, look at all all of our SOPs and go through them all and think, right, which ones of these now can be improved or are now obsolete, or we can move into Pitchbox and free up the team to do other things, you know? So yeah, super cool. Well, super excited for it, you know, to see it come out, and yeah, thank you for
Yeah,
going
man.
through it.
All right, cool.
Nice.
As always, man, it's good to see you, good to
Yeah.
chat, and keep in touch.
Likewise.
Cheers.
Thanks, mate. Cheers. Bye.
Thanks.